Welcome everyone to the Korean American Day celebration. My name is Hannah Kim, founder of Remember 7 to 7, and I was working at the White House, as many of you know, and in the Biden administration as Deputy Assistant Secretary at the United States Health and Human Services. I am very pleased to welcome you to join me in celebrating this day, and I would like to first introduce Mr. Sae-kwon Chung, the founding president and senior advisor of KFGW, to begin the ceremony.
신사숙녀 여러분, 지금부터 2014년 제19회 미주 한인날 기념 행사를 시작하겠습니다. Now we start to celebrate the Korean American Day 2024. Thank you so much for your attendance. Thank you.
Thank you, President Chung. Now we have soprano Ki-sun Kwon, who will sing the anthems of the United States and South Korea. Soprano Ki-sun Kwon has appeared as a soloist for the Millennium Stage Concert and the Heinz Lee Opera Ensemble at the Kennedy Center. She made her New York debut at Carnegie Hall. Ms. Kwon received her doctoral degree in musical arts from the Catholic University of America.
Oh
much, Ms. Kwon. That was beautiful. Now, please, everyone, remain standing for a prayer by Reverend Daniel Peck. Reverend Peck is a pastor of Bethel Korean Presbyterian Church in Maryland.
이 시간 함께 기도하겠습니다. Please join me in prayer. 전능하신 하나님, 제19차 미주 한인의 날을 맞아 넘치는 감사와 경외심으로 주님 앞에 먼저 기도합니다. 청교도의 신앙과 자유, 정의와 평등, 통합의 복음적 가치 위에 미합중국을 건설할 수 있도록 인도해 주신 은혜 감사드립니다. 이 나라가 모든 목소리를 존중하며 다양성을 포용하고 기념할 수 있도록 인도해 주심에 감사드립니다. 121년 전 한국 이민자들이 이 위대한 땅에 정착할 수 있도록 인도해 주신 주님의 은혜를 기억합니다. 또한 한인사회가 지금까지 미국의 경제, 과학, 정치, 문화, 종교 등 다양한 분야에서 풍요로운 삶을 영위할 수 있었던 모든 것이 주님의 은혜임을 고백합니다. 한인사회가 계속 번영하고 미국 사회 전반에 기여할 수 있도록 축복해 주시옵소서. 이 시간 이 나라를 섬기고 다스리는 모든 지도자들을 위해 기도합니다. 특히 미국 상하원의 모든 의원들이 정직하고 명예롭게 유권자들을 대표하여 현명한 결정을 내릴 수 있도록 경건한 지혜와 분별력을 주시기를 간구합니다. 또한 주미 대한민국 대사님과 총영사님, 대사관 직원들, 그리고 오늘 미국 전역에 또 한인회를 대표해서 참석하신 회장님들과 대표자님들, 주님의 축복과 은혜를 베풀어 주시옵소서. 이들에게 다양한 현안과 상황을 헤쳐나갈 수 있는 분별력과 통찰력을 주시고 화합과 단결을 이끌어낼 수 있는 지도력을 주시옵소서. 우리는 주님이 주권자이시며 주님의 통치가 열방에 미치고 있음을 인정합니다. 전쟁과 혼란으로 고통받는 이웃들을 불쌍히 여기시며 평화와 회복의 소망을 허락해 주시옵소서. 이 시간 예수 그리스도의 은혜가 이 기념식에 넘치게 하시며 우리의 마음이 기쁨과 감사로 가득 차게 하여 주시옵소서. Almighty God, we come before you with hearts full of gratitude and reverence on this 19th anniversary of Korean American Day. We acknowledge your divine guidance in founding the United States of America, a nation anchored in Puritan faith and evangelical value of freedom, justice, equality, and unity. And thank you for guiding this nation to embrace and celebrate diversity where all voices are heard and respected. We remember your grace in settling Korean immigrants in this great land 121 years ago. And we acknowledge that it was your grace that embraced the Korean American community to enrich diverse sectors of economy, science, politics, culture, and religion in the U.S. Please bless the Korean American community to continue to flourish and edify American society at large. We pray for all the leaders who serve and govern this great nation. We especially ask for godly wisdom and discernment for the members of the United Senate and the House of Representatives so that they can make wise decisions as they represent their constituents with integrity and honor. We also ask for your blessing and grace on the Korean Consul General and officials at the Embassy of the Republic of Korea, as well as the leaders and representatives, Korean American associations across the United States. And Father, grant them the discernment and insight to navigate through various issues and situations and to bring harmony and unity. And we acknowledge that you are sovereign and your rule extends over the nations. Have mercy on those suffering from war and turmoil and grant them peace and hope of restoration. And at this time, may the grace of Jesus Christ cover this ceremony and may our hearts be filled with joy and gratitude. In the precious name of Jesus Christ, we pray. 예수님 이름으로 기도드리옵나이다. 아멘.
Thank you so much, Reverend Beck. Now, I am pleased to introduce Mr. Harold Pyun, our event chair. Mr. Pyun has been serving in Virginia communities for over 30 years. In 2023, he was appointed by Virginia Attorney General Jason Miyares to be his senior advisor.
Good morning. How are you all? Let me take this opportunity to offer my warmest greeting and congratulations to everyone attending Korean American celebration at the Cannon building here. I also want to thank the Korean American Foundation in Washington chapter for your effort to support for next generation of Korean American leaders. The Korean American Day celebration is a historically important event that you should be proud of, be a part of. This day is recognize Korean American communities' many valuable contribution to United States. It is truly an honor to partake in continues the great tradition of developing our next generation's leaders and keeping up with the vision and spirit of a Korean American Day resolution from House and Senate at the United States of America in Congress. I am confident in that the spirit of a Korean American Day will not only remind us of our heritage, but guide us as we continue to merge into dynamic and richly diverse society of this blessed nation. I would like to sincerely thank you for everyone to making this spirit a reality. Thank you for being part of this important event, and thank you for your leadership and dedication to Korean American community and Korean American Foundation. Thank you for being here. Thanks. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Pyun. Now we invite Ms. Rosa Park, current president of KFGW, who's been very active in the Korean American community in Washington, D.C. She has organized the Chorus Korean Festival in Virginia and has served as event steering committee chairwoman for the Maryland Korean Festival.
안녕하세요. 이렇게 많이 와주셔서 정말 감사드립니다. 저는 이번 19회 미주 한인의 날을 준비하면서 딱 한 가지 단어가 제 머리에 떠오르더라고요. 1903년 102분의 우리 첫 이민자들이 오셨을 때 그분들은 과연 자기의 아이덴티티에 대해서 자기 정체성에서 어떻게 생각하고 계셨을까요? 그분들이 정말 힘겹게 이민자라는 정체성을 자리 잡을 때 또 다른 곳에서는 일본의 마수에 의해서 저희 한국이, 대한제국이 시들어가고 있었습니다. 그럴 때 그분들은 또 한 가지 문제에 부닥치게 됐습니다. 자기 고국, 자기 뿌리에 대한 정체성을 잃어버리기 시작했던 것입니다. 이랬을 때 이분들은 어떤 것을 선택하셨을까 생각을 해봤습니다. 이분들은 이 어려운 점을 이겨서 당신의 꿈과 희망과 모든 것을 포기하고 내 나라를 구하시겠다 하는 마음으로 그분들은 독립자금을 대고 독립군을 도우고 하셨습니다. 또 한 가지는 그분들의 꿈과 희망은 다 사라지고 모든 것을 차세대를 위해서 희생하셨습니다. 여러분이 바로 이 자리에 계신 여러분들이 그분들의 꿈이었고 희망이었습니다. 우리는 그분들의 희망과 꿈과를 거기에 또 저희가 바라는 앞으로의 이민, 우리 차세대에 바라는 그런 이민 역사를 더해서 저희 차세들에게 그 전통을 또 그 마음을 전하는 것이 아마 저희들의 책임감이 아닌가 합니다. Distinguished guests, thank you so much for being with us here. While I was preparing for the 19th Korean American Day, I was thinking about what does Korean American Days mean to me. For me, I want to express my thoughts by the one word: responsibility. 1903, when 1 or 2 Korean immigrants arrived in Hawaii, they must have gone through a lot of the confusion before they established their identity as immigrants. Also, another place, under the ambitions of the Japanese aggression, the fate of the Joseon was like a candle before the wind. What worse is that even those, the identity of a Korean will be challenges. They rose above their difficulty. They were reborn with a new name, new identity as Korean American. They did not hesitate to sacrifice their dreams and their hopes for supporting their country and then supporting for next generations. So our responsibility, somebody have to talk to this legacy and in history. We are the one have to tell our generations what is all about the Korean American Days. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, President Park. Now we invite Ms. Ine Lee, who's the board chair of KFW, GW, and principal of the McLean Korean Academy for 16 years. The Academy is a primary school for Korean youth.
안녕하세요. 오늘 우리가 로사 박 회장님 말씀드렸듯이 낯선 이국 땅 아메리카 대륙에 이주해서 코리안 아메리칸으로 새로운 삶의 터전을 마련한 날 1903년 1월 13일을 기념하기 위해 이 자리에 우리 함께 하였습니다. 함께 하신 여러분 진심으로 환영하며 반갑고 고맙습니다. 금년 미주 한인의 날은 아시다시피 하와이에 우리 한인 이민선이 도착한 지 121년이 되며 미 연방 상하원에서 이민선이 처음 도착한 1월 13일을 미주 한인의 날로 세계 공포한 후 19년째 맞이하는 우리의 날입니다. 저는 감히 오늘 이 자리가 코리안 아메리칸 이민 역사의 성숙기를 선포하는 날이 되기를 기대합니다. 우리 미주 한인사계는 1세기가 넘는 이민 생활을 거치면서 미국 땅에 굳건한 토대를 마련하고 이제 떳떳한 미국 사회의 주인으로 우뚝 서게 되었습니다. 이 모두는 이민 선배들의 피와 땀 그리고 눈물의 결정이었으며 오늘 이 자리에 참석한 여러분 한 분 한 분의 고귀한 희생과 노력으로 가능했다고 생각합니다. 생각보다는 믿습니다. 이제 우리는 그동안 이민 1세들이 일궈놓은 노력들이 헛되지 않도록 결심력을 모아야 할 때라고 생각합니다. 우리 다 같이 서로 사랑하며 나누며 한마음이 되어 우리의 전통 문화와 어를 후세들에게 물려줄 때 이 3세들이 정체성을 갖고 미주류 사회에서 당당히 꿈을 펼칠 수 있을 것입니다. 뜻깊은 이날, 이 특별한 행사가 한인 이민 100년을 뒤돌아보고 앞으로 100년을 위한 새로운 설계, 즉 미국 주류 사회에서의 우리 미주 한인의 힘을 합하는 계기의 자리가 되기를 바라며 이 행사를 마련하기까지 뒤에서 너무나 많은 수고를 하여 주신 분들과 후원으로 또한 뜻을 함께한 기관에게 진심으로 감사의 감사를 드립니다. 새해 복 많이 받으시고 사랑으로 충만한 한 해가 되시기를 바랍니다. 감사합니다. Thank you again. God bless America and Korea. Thank you. 감사합니다.
Thank you so much, Ms. Lee. Now, we would like to introduce a documentary video entitled The Establishment of Korean American Day in the United States, presented by Harold Pyeon. Mr. Pyeon was an important player in this work. Thank you.
Let me tell you, this is a historical moment for Korean American, for entire our immigration history. 2003, we had 100 years of Korean American immigration to this country. In 1903, our first ship, ship to come to Hawaii. Therefore, we were studying, and from the Hawaii to California, LA, and 윤병우 회장님 and 이정수 회장님 and all those leadership that decided to have let's have a celebration of 100 years of our Korean American immigration. So they had 100 years, 미주 100주년, immigration committee. So we had a resolution at that time from the presidents to right here, the original person to 100 years of anniversary. The resolution also we have, and also Congressman Tom Davis was leadership at the Republican caucus. And that time, both House and Senate. Senate is George Allen was the leadership. Tom Davis is the leadership at the House. So those two leadership recognize their Korean contribution to American life and diversity. So they recognize that 100 years of resolution. After that time, 미주 100주년 기념회 changed it to 미주 한인 재단. They are thinking of making 미주 한인의 날, Korean American Day. They started and thinking and doing so. There was a head of 윤병우 회장님, 이정수 회장님, 이정수 회장님 from Philadelphia, 정세건 회장님, and 박윤수 회장님 in Washington. So all those people created and to try to do in 2003. However, they could not do it. And in terms of in LA, the 윤병우 회장님 is call me and then say, Harold, we needed to do one more time. And because of we do not have a political power at that time at the House, Congress. And here today we have a Congressman Tom Davis was ranking 3rd or 4th in the entire House of Congress. And then his leadership, and then George Allen, and then he was in the leadership in the Senate. And at that time, luckily, we both House and Senate is controlled by the Republican Party. It was God giving that time, and so that's we create that. They couldn't do it in 2003, so we made it at the 2005. And the Korean American Day was the first to be introduced by the Senator George Allen and then Congressman Tom Davis's leadership support from the House of Delegates. So that's the history about Korean American. This is for the next generation to come, and just like a Columbus Day or St. Patrick's Day one day. And we're going to have a separate history document and issue with the seminar maybe that Rosa Bach is leading and about this, because it's maybe Congressman Tom Davis is going to tell you it's very hard to be passing the resolution, especially one specific ethnic community like a Korean American. So no other we have a Korean American Day, but there is no Chinese American Day there yet, okay? So this is the leadership from Tom Davis and Senator Alan's leadership, and I really did it to them, and this is a history report, and he's here today, so he's a busy schedule, and then also Congressman, my hero, the Michelle Steele's here, Abrams in younger generation leadership, so that is our history. So I went too much, but you needed to know about this history. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please welcome General Consul and Minister of the Korean Embassy in Washington, D.C., Do Ki-jung, to deliver a very special message from the President of South Korea.
Honorable Representative of U.S. Congress, Honorable Tom Davis, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to be part of this very important event to celebrate the 19th Korean American Day. Let me first read out the very special message from the President of the Republic of Korea, His Excellency Yoon Suk-yeol. His message is as follows. 제19회 미주 한인의 날을 진심으로 축하드립니다. 121년의 역사를 품고 있는 미국 한인 사회는 이제 260만 명에 달하는 세계 최대 규모의 동포 사회로 발전하며 미국 사회의 핵심 구성원으로 자리 잡았습니다. 4명의 한인 연방 하원 의원들이 활발한 의정 활동을 이어가고 있고 다양한 분야에서 많은 동포들이 두각을 나타내고 있습니다. 성실함과 끈기로 한민족의 우수성을 발휘하며 미국 사회 발전과 한미 관계 증진에 기여해 오신 동포 여러분께 감사드립니다. 한미 동맹 70주년을 맞은 지난해는 양국 관계가 새롭게 도약하는 한 해였습니다. 작년 4월 국빈 방미를 통해 북한 핵에 대응하여 한미 양국의 확장 억제를 확고히 하는 워싱턴 선언을 발표했고 더 나아가 글로벌 포괄 전략 동맹의 비전을 구체화하였습니다. 또한 8월 캠프 데이비드에서 한미일 3국 협력 체계를 출범시키며 세 나라가 공동의 리더십을 발휘하여 인도 태평양 지역의 평화와 번영을 함께 이끌어 나가기로 하였습니다. 이러한 성과들을 바탕으로 한미 양국은 2024년에도 행동하는 동맹으로서 한미 동맹을 더욱 발전시켜 나갈 것입니다. 한미 동맹 발전의 역사는 곧 미주 한인 동포의 발전 역사입니다. 지난 70년간 여러분께서 두 나라 사이의 단단한 연결고리가 되어주셨던 것처럼 앞으로도 변함없이 한미 동맹 발전과 공동 번영을 위해 힘을 보태주시기 바랍니다. 2024년 갑진년 새해 복 많이 받으시길 바라며 동포 여러분의 가정에 건강과 행복이 가득하길 기원합니다. 감사합니다. 대한민국 대통령 윤석열. This was the message from the President of the Republic of Korea. Now I take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to Honorable Marilyn Strickland and Honorable Michelle Steele. Certainly, your presence added another special meaning to today's celebration. And in particular, my special thanks go to Honorable Tom Davis, who spared no efforts and played a pivotal role in the establishment of the Korean American Day by the U.S. House of Representatives in 2005. Thank you very much for your support and dedication. And I cannot forget other important names who made today's celebration possible, including Ms. Rosa Park, President of the Korean American Foundation, Greater Washington, and Ms. Eun-nae Lee is a board chairperson, and especially event chairperson Harold Ben. With heartfelt congratulations to all Korean Americans, I am sure that this annual celebration serves as a great momentum to reinforce the global, comprehensive, strategic alliance between the Republic of Korea and the United States. We go together. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year.
Thank you so much, Consul General. Now I am very pleased to invite Congresswoman Michelle Steele, who represents California's 45th District and serves on the very powerful Ways and Means Committee. Her parents actually both escaped from North Korea during the Korean War. Thank you so much for being with us, Congresswoman Steele.
Thank you so much for inviting me today. This is really special day. 안녕하세요, 미셸 락스틸입니다. I came to this country when I was 19, and I was born in Korea, and I'm very proud, one of Korean American women serving in Congress with Marilyn and Young Kim. So we have now 4 members. You know what? I have a speech here, but I'd rather just speak because, I remember that, we celebrated our centennial anniversary in Hawaii. Harold, you and I were very young at that time. It was 21 years ago. And I remember that we didn't have any power or we didn't have any positions at that time in Congress or in Washington, D.C. So I was actually White House Asian American Task Force at that time, and I was the one brought the message from President George Bush at that time. So we grew so much last 21 years. Without first generation's sacrifice, there's no way we are here. Without Korean American community, there's no way we are here. And we actually serve you. And we want to have Korean American community very prosper, and we work together. And we want to have more second, third generations coming out, and they represent us because it's a very important job. Right now that we are in very important positions, all 4 of us Korean American Congress members. I'm on Ways and Means Committee, and I'm on Select Committee on CCP, Chinese Communist Party, and I'm on Executive Commission on China and Education Committee. I love to stay with you all day, but I have actually markup going on in Education Committee, so I have to run to vote. It's the reason that I'm leaving. But I am so happy to be here, and I'm meeting all of you, and I'm very proud to be a Korean American representing all Korean American communities as a Congress member. So thank you so much. 너무너무 감사하고요. 워싱턴 DC까지 와주셔서 너무 감사하고, 사실 한국말하고 영어하는 그 멤버들이 이제는 많이 있기 때문에 이제는 언제든지 저희에게 같이 연락을 주시면 저희가 법을 통과한다든지 코리안 아메리칸 커뮤니티를 위해서 뭐든지 할 수 있는 거는 같이 좀 더 많은 일을 하려고 합니다. 그러니까 언제든지 연락 주시고요. 메릴린 있고, 영킴 있고, 앤디 킴 있고, 또 저 있고, 그래서 4명이나 되거든요. 이제 더 많은 사람들이 나오겠죠. 한 내년이나 내후년 정도 되면은 좀 더 코리안 아메리칸들이 좀 더 나오지 않을까 생각합니다. 너무너무 감사하고요. 항상 연락 주시면 연락 곧 드리겠습니다. 감사합니다. Happy New Year, everyone. 새해 복 많이 받으세요.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman Steele. As a young Korean American woman myself, we look up to you. Thank you so much. And as she mentioned, we have another Korean American member of Congress here with us, Congresswoman Marilyn Strickland, who serves on the 10th District of Washington State, so near Seattle. And she serves on the important House Armed Services Committee. And she had outstanding success as the mayor of Tacoma in raising the graduation rates of students in that city. Welcome, Congresswoman Strickland.
Great. Well, thank you very much for having me here. Well, it is my honor to be with you today to celebrate the 19th anniversary of Korean American Day. And we know how important that recognition is to our community. When I think about the alliance between the United States of America and the Republic of Korea, we know that it is strong and it is enduring. I had the honor of attending the inauguration of President Yoon as part of a delegation that President Biden sent to Korea. So I met him when he moved from the Blue House to the new location. I also had the opportunity to attend the address that he gave to the joint session of Congress when he was here. It's incredibly important for us as a community to use our voices and to make sure that people understand that, yes, we are part of this country, we are entrepreneurs, we are people who are educators, we are working in the medical profession, we are caregivers, and yes, we can be elected officials as well. It's incredibly important. I'm honored to serve with Andy Kim, Michelle Steele, and Young Kim. And the four of us don't always work together all the time. When it comes to supporting our community, the Korean American community, we are united. We want to make sure that our voice remains strong, that we stay visible, and that when people think about the American experience, they understand that the Korean American experience is in fact the American experience. It is my honor to be here with you today as what I call Generation 1.5. I was born in Seoul. We moved to the United States when I was 1.5 years old. But as my dearly departed mother has always said to me, be a proud American woman, but never forget that you are a daughter of Korea. Thank you very much for letting me be here today. 감사합니다.
We are very honored to have Congressman Jimmy Gomez representing LA area, where I'm from, from California. He sits on the Committee on Oversight and Accountability and is very active in many House caucuses and is also a champion of the Korean American community. So thank you so much, Congressman Gomez, for being here with us.
Thank you so much. First, I'm honored to be here on the 100 to celebrate 121 years since the first Koreans landed in the United States. I represent Los Angeles, Koreatown. It's one of the largest Korean American populations in the entire country. And it's something that I've learned to not only appreciate more and more every year I represented this area, but I've also got to learn about just the contributions that Korean Americans have made over the generations. And this is something that I know that the people in Los Angeles also appreciate and honor. And one of the things that I try to point out to people that there are a lot of similarities amongst all immigrant groups, either from Latin America. My parents and family are from Mexico. They were immigrants and they came here. And my brother and I were born in the United States. With the Korean Americans who came here generations ago or even recent arrivals, that we often face similar challenges, but also have similar hopes and aspirations, that when we come here, we're embraced and recognized as Americans, but we also can also appreciate the culture of our home countries. And that's one of the things that we try to strive to protect and to promote. One of the things that I saw in my district is when we hold an event with a lot of the Korean organizations there, it's both Latinos, Blacks, Koreans, other groups that come up. But one thing that kind of warmed my heart is one day, a little kid who was of Latino descent asked for something in Korean. And then I had a little child who was of Korean descent, spoke in Spanish. So this is kind of like where we appreciate each other's cultures, but also recognize that they are distinctive. But at the same time that we're all Americans. And it is one of the things that I want to recognize is just the contributions of the Korean American community is why I helped secure the first $7 million to host the first Korean American Museum in the United States in Los Angeles. That is something, because recognizing our history is important, because if you don't have a permanent place, you don't have a permanent facility to tell those stories can be erased and forgotten. And we don't want ever the contributions of the Korean Americans to be forgotten. Additionally, we want to make sure that we're valuing the individuals who were born in Korea but came here afterwards. One of the main groups that I've worked with constantly are the Korean veterans of the Vietnam War. And these are individuals who were fought alongside our men and women in uniform. They made contributions over and over again, but when they moved here, they weren't getting the same benefits as other Vietnam veterans. And with the encouragement of the Korean veterans of the Vietnam War in my district, as well as the support of Mark Takano, the former chairman of the Veterans Affairs Committee, we're able to pass the Valor Act to get the same benefits for these veterans as if they wore the American uniform. So that is something that we should be proud of because we recognize those contributions. Additionally, we want to make sure that we continue to build our relationship with the Republic of Korea. We want to make sure that we build that alliance. One of the committees I just joined is the House Intelligence Committee. And over the last year and even before, I've become to appreciate the strong alliance that the Republic of Korea and the United States have had and are going to continue to have. And that we want to make sure that that alliance is not only militarily, economically, but also culturally. So we're going to continue to push those efforts. So I am very pleased to be here in support of the contributions, but also the aspirations of the Korean American people. One of the things that we know is that immigration is a big challenge, and we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to come here, to have a chance to become a citizen, and also to make sure that they have an opportunity to succeed and thrive. We're going to continue working on all those different issues. But I want to say that the Korean American community's contributions have been invaluable to Los Angeles and to America. And I know that it's only going to get stronger with time, and we're going to continue to support. One of the things that we want to continue to do is not only this resolution, but passing legislation that really helps empower the Korean American community. Small businesses, senior support. We want to make sure that people have that opportunity to thrive. So with the Korean American Foundation, I want to just say thank you so much for your inviting me to participate in this celebration. This is a celebration. I know that we're going to continue not only for the next year, but the next 121 years. So thank you so much. Have a good celebration.
Thank you so much, Congressman. Actually, I would like to point out we have several Vietnam War veterans in the audience. Can you rise up? 월남전에서 싸우셨으면 can you rise up? Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you so much for your service. We are so honored to have you join us. Congressman Whitman of Virginia serves on the House Armed Services Committee and in the Natural Resources Committee. He is a very strong advocate for the cleanup of Chesapeake Bay, and he rushed in from his committee right now to give us remarks and to welcome everyone. So thank you so much for making that effort.
Well, thank you so much, and good morning. What an honor and a privilege it is to be with you. Listen, I cannot thank you enough for the honor to join you today in recognition of decades of a great relationship between the United States and South Korea. What an incredible legacy of relationships between our countries. What a great relationship between Korean Americans and South Korea. It's really, really incredible. I've had the opportunity to visit there a number of times, most recently in 2017. I'm always amazed at the culture there in Korea, at the incredible commitment that Korea has to safety and security in the Indo-Pacific, especially today and what you see happening with your neighbor to the north, who obviously doesn't have the same interests that you all have, but you all have been a steadying influence in the region, a strong partner, not just with the United States, but other ASEAN nations to make sure that we hold dear the rule of law, we hold dear our strong economic relationships. In fact, I look at how South Korea's economy continues to grow and the things that you all do across the spectrum there, the strong relationships that our companies have here in the United States, as well as South Korean companies and what they are doing here in the United States as you look to grow. I think it's incredibly important that we grow the economic relationship in even more ways, especially too as you all develop technology in new realms and artificial intelligence and quantum computing. Those things are going to be incredibly important to the future of the world. We know too the things that you do not only there in the Indo-Pacific, but also here in the United States in the realm of technology and semiconductors. I think those are great, great opportunities. So We really appreciate all that you do, all that you all have put into the relationship here with the United States. You know, we want to continue to build that. We think, too, that it's incredibly important to build the strategic relationship. In fact, we were just meeting with Admiral Aquilino, who is the commander for the Indo-Pacific Command, and speaking, too, with officials in the Department of Defense as what's happening with China and the aggression that we see happening in the region there. And we know that the real strength behind deterring China and deterring bad behavior by China is indeed relationships that we have with countries in the region. The stronger the relationship between South Korea and the United States, the less likely it is that there will be any sort of conflict there in the Indo-Pacific. It's less likely that China will make an aggressive play to take Taiwan. We know that our strength in relationships, both economically and strategically, really are the foundation to deterrence for any sort of bad action in the region. So I appreciate what you all continue to do to grow that relationship and continue to work with the United States. We know the aggressive behavior there. I've had the opportunity to, again, there to visit. I've actually visited the islands there, visited the South Korean military and what they do to kind of counter what happens from North Korean forces, and we know the overtly aggressive actions that they take, not only in missile launches, but also in artillery barrages that come into South Korean territory. Those things all absolutely unacceptable, but we know that, you know, we have to work together in order to deter your neighbor to the north. And we know Kim Jong-un has lots of ill intent, many things that aren't good, not only for South Korea, but not good for the world. So we want to make sure we continue to work with you. We know the best way to do that is to have a strong economic relationship and strong strategic relationship. That's what concerns destabilizing forces in that area of the world the most. The thing that they're most concerned about are strong relationships. They look to divide us. They look to divide South Korea from its neighbors. They look to divide the United States from our friends in the Indo-Pacific. We know strong relationships are the key to peace and prosperity in the region. And we know that you all have been at the very forefront to make sure that peace and prosperity reigns in that region because of what you have done both economically and strategic there in the Indo-Pacific. So I want to thank you so much for all that you have done, all that you continue to do. We wish you all the best. I wish each of you God's continued blessings. I wish God to continue to bless the great nation of South Korea, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you all so much.
And may God bless you, Congressman. Thank you so much for being here. We are now going to hear from Congressman Tom Davis, again from Virginia, who was the primary sponsor of the resolution in the House of Representatives that established today as Korean American Day. We will hear from him more later as part of the panel, but we do want him to, as the sponsor, say hello.
Thank you. I'm the honorable because I left Congress undefeated and unindicted, something I'm very, very proud of. It was my privilege to be chairman of the House Oversight Committee that has jurisdiction over these kinds of proclamations. They are very difficult to get through. You need leadership approval. But we had strong support from both sides of the aisle. We had Harold Pyan pushing me. He lived out in my congressional district in Northern Virginia. And I'll talk a little later about the story of Korean Americans. It's really the story of America in terms of the ways you've been able to achieve success. 4 members of Congress now born in Korea. But I just say it was my privilege to bring this forward. We honored this again today, and we're so proud of what Korean Americans have accomplished in this country. And I'll talk a little bit more about it later. Thank you very much. 감사합니다.
Thank you so much. We would like to invite Judge Chung-gi Park, who serves on the state of Maryland as the Chief Administrative Law Judge, which is actually a big deal. He is an expert in patent law and is admitted to practice before the Supreme Court of the United States. Welcome, Chief Judge Park.
Thank you. I am very honored to be here today to celebrate 19th Korean American Day. This celebration means a lot to me because often Korean Americans are treated as foreigners, and this celebration recognizes Korean American contribution to the United States. And they make us same first-class citizen that everyone else is. And that's very important to break glass ceilings and eliminate discrimination simply because what we look like. And I want to thank the Korean American Foundation of Greater Washington, Rosa Parks, and Harold Pine. They had worked hard to ensure this celebration is organized, and also Harold Pine and Congressman Davis for pushing hard at the Capitol Hill for passing the resolution recognizing Korean American Day. And if it wasn't for their work, our community would not be recognized as it is today. And I am very honored and grateful to be part of this celebration and be part of these esteemed speakers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Judge Pak. We have one more speaker before we hear from Congressman Tom Davis and Dr. Kim. And we would like to welcome President Seo Jong-il. Welcome, President.
감사합니다. 여러분 안녕하십니까? 오늘 이 행사를 빛내주기 위해서 원근 각지 미국 전역에서 이렇게 참석해 주신 모든 여러분들, 그리고 오늘 이 행사를 위해서 수고해 주신 미주 한인재단의 로사박 회장님 이하 그 임직원 여러분들 진심으로 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 모든 행사라는 것이 그냥 치러지는 것이 아닙니다. 모든 분들의 노고와 정열과 모든 것이 합쳐져야 이런 행사를 치르게 되는데 진심으로 270만 미주 한인 동포 사회를 대표하는 대표자로서 감사의 말씀을 드립니다. 오늘이 2024년입니다. 바야흐로 121년 전에 121명의 이민선 갤리고를 타고 12월 22일 날 인천 제물포항을 출발해서 하와이에 도착한 게 1월 13일이었습니다. 바야흐로 30 며칠을 갔다가 배를 타고 오셨습니다. 여러분들 미국에서 한국에 가려면 13시간, 4시간인데 그것도 힘들고 길다고 하는데 32일간의 장구한 시간을 갖다가 이민을 타고 와서 그들의 그 바침으로 인해서 우리가 지금 이 자리에서 살고 있고 그들의 희생으로 인해서 우리가 이 자리에 있는 것을 우리는 잊어서는 안 될 것 같습니다. 여러분들 지금은 현재 이민 121주년이 되어서 바야흐로 세계 경제 제국이 되어 있습니다. 군사대국 6이고 무역 규모가 세계 7위입니다. 그리고 원조를 받는 나라에서 원조를 주는 자랑스러운 대한민국이 되어 있습니다. 대한민국, 조국 대한민국이 잘 되어야 우리도 좋은 것입니다. 우리도 자랑스럽고 여러분들 조국과 민족을 위해서 항상 헌신한다는 자세로 우리는 임하고 있습니다. 그리고 우리 270만이 한마음 한뜻이 되어서 우리 조국 대한민국을 위해서 함께 노력하는 121주년이 되는 것을 계기로 해서 함께 갔으면 합니다. 이상으로서 제가 한국말로 하는 인사 말씀을 간단하게 드리고 영어로 제가 인사 말씀을 하겠습니다. Dear esteemed guest, I'm honored and grateful to be able to sponsor the commemoration event of the 121st anniversary of Korean American Day in U.S. Congress in Caucus Building. Congratulations to the distinguished guests from across the United States and Washington chapter of the Korean American Foundation, include President Rosa Parks and the executive. Today, we honor the courage and dreams of the ancestors who started this journey 121 years ago. Their sacrifice paved the way of our success today and showcase achievement across various fields with the support from U.S. Congress. Inspired by our forebears, we must now pass on this rich heritage to our future generation during drawing from South Korea history. Let us fortify ourselves against challenge and instill nation pride. Empowering the younger generation is crucial in the world where K-culture shines. As president of Federation of Korean American USA, I am committed to the trustworthy and inspiration guidance, economic independence, and transparent policy. The 121 First Korean American Day marks new era. Each of is spiral. We really on your strengths together. Let us combine experience and wisdom moving forward with the resilience. May the year of Blue Dragon bring the strength and prosperity of each household, and wishing you in this year filled with abundance, happiness, and success. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, President Seo, for your leadership and vision. Now, we would like to present former Congressman Tom Davis and Dr. Abraham Kim, who will answer these questions, okay? There are two large questions. Yes. One, what is the status of Koreans in America? Two, how can our unique history contribute to the American society and America's global standing? So the first speaker is Congressman Davis, who is currently the law partner in Holland and Knight's Washington, D.C. office.
Thank you very much. 안녕하세요. Let me start by saying that the story of Korean Americans is really the story of America, as I said before. America is unique among nations because we weren't founded on a people, although we were settled initially by Europeans. We weren't founded on a people, we were founded on an ideal. And that idea was that people were born free, we were founded on the ideal that all men are created equal, and that anybody could become an American, and we are indeed a nation of immigrants. There was a widespread historical theory called the Turner thesis that said when Americans had reached their manifest destiny, had moved from coast to coast, from sea to sea, that America would cease to become a country of pioneers, and we would lose that unique spirit that makes America unique. But that didn't come true simply because each new wave of immigrants brings with them their own pioneer spirit that reinvigorates America and reminds us who we are, that we're a nation that is based on opportunity, that is based on an ideal that anybody can succeed. We don't have kings and royalty. We are a country that based from the people. And Korean Americans are a major part of this story, the success that we have seen from people who have come over from Korea, have settled here, come here for the freedom and opportunity that America offers that you can't find other places, and has succeeded in business, in academia. We see now in Congress we're starting to succeed politically, and of course even in sports. You turn on your sports channels now, you have Koreans in every major American sports as well. So you are instructive to the rest of us. We had a dry cleaners out in my neighborhood out in Falls Church, Virginia, and every day I'd go in there, and his two sons were working there with him every day and on Saturdays. Since they would take clothes, they didn't make a lot of money, but they worked hard every day. The two sons were there every day after school. One went to West Point and one went to Princeton. They became a doctor and a lawyer and are very productive members of society. And as I look out at Korean success, it is that work ethic, if you will, the recognition how family is important, how church is important, that is really the American spirit in itself. So you're succeeding because, in fact, you have taken advantage of the privileges and the opportunity that this country offers. And I see nothing but good days ahead for us. Now, there are some issues that have come up over time. As we start hearing people preach equity instead of opportunity, instead of merit, there are some threats thinking that maybe Koreans and other groups are moving too fast and we need to balance this out. I think the Supreme Court spoke to this last year in the Harvard case, that we should continue to be a nation of merit. And I think as long as that continues, Korean Americans are going to continue to be successful, continue to enrich our communities, build our tax base, and serve us. I'll just add, it was my privilege as a member of Congress I was in the leadership, but to be part of the visa waiver program for South Korea, which was very important to Koreans, Korean-American Free Trade Agreement, but most of all, to interact with so many Korean families that had moved into Virginia and were just looking for better opportunities for their family, and watching each generation succeed is indeed what America is all about. We thank you for your contributions, and we thank you for all the Korean American associations are doing across this country to bring that to. And I think the fact that you have 4 members of Congress now coming talks that you've arrived politically as well. 감사합니다.
감사합니다 to you too. We all know that we need a champion, not just somebody who's going to sponsor, but a champion, and you've been our champion, so thank you so much.
I got one.
Now we have Dr. Abraham Kim, who is not only the executive director at the Council of Korean Americans, but he has more than 20 years of experience in foreign policy analysis, leadership development, and innovation consulting. So in other words, he is very knowledgeable about what is going on.
Well, thank you very much. 안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. I represent, I guess today, the second generation of Korean Americans. I was born here in the United States some many decades ago. And so, but I run an organization that represents Korean American leaders who are your children, basically, your children and your grandchildren of the second and third generation. But they do represent the leading leaders in mainstream, whether it's in business or government or civil society. And when I was asked to come speak today, I was asked about some big picture questions. And what I wanted to say was, before I talked about the present and the future, I thought I'd explore in the past. And today you've already read, the number 121 is an important number today because it's the 121st anniversary of Korean immigration to the United States. And the original pioneers that came here, they were seeking a new life. And what is amazing is that despite the difficulties, and they came as workers, they came as picture brides, they came as just people who were struggling for a new life. And when they came, despite their struggles and their day-to-day, just being in a foreign country, they still did not forget about civic duty. And the fact that what amazed me was, as I think President Rosa mentioned, she said that during that time, they raised money for the independence movement back in Korea. And the fact that even though they were making cents on the dollar, they were able to gather cents and pennies and dimes and nickels and so forth, and raised almost more than $45,000 to support the independence movement in Korea. So the idea of civic duty and the idea of giving back is a very much part of the DNA of the Korean American experience. And so with that experience, it really set the stage forward to today, 12 decades later. And today, Korean Americans are not only film celebrities, CEOs of major companies, university presidents, cutting-edge scientists, and of course, as we already mentioned, respected congressional leaders who are contributing to the strength of this country. And you know, it is really strange. It makes me smile too when we think about. It's kind of cool to be Korean American these days. Let's be honest. When we walk through the K-music, K-food, K-drama, K-beauty, but what makes me really even laugh is actually seeing kimbap and tteokbokki in Trader Joe's. And not only Koreans, but non-Koreans grabbing by the gallon kimchi at Costco. There's much to be celebrated in the Korean American community, but there are also serious challenges and issues, as Congressman Davis had mentioned. You know, the image of all is well with the community is not the full story of the Korean American community. There are challenges. And I think one of the most important efforts for our community, what's going on in this federal government and other national institutions, is that they are looking at our community more specifically. As you know, we're called Asian Americans, or Asian American Pacific Islanders, AAPI. But oftentimes what that means is that's a category where it's not only Korean Americans, but Chinese American, Japanese American, Cambodian Americans. Literally over 75 countries are under that category, and 100 languages are spoken. And they're saying all of those experiences, all those Asian Americans have a common experience, but they don't. In fact, the Korean American experience is different from the Japanese American experience, or from the Hmong American experience, and so forth. And so there's a movement to what's called disaggregating data. I know it's a big word, but what it means is our government, as well as our national institutions, are looking at the Korean American experience specifically, and what are some of the important things that we have to know about the Korean American experience. So I'm not here to advertise anything or advertise books, but actually our organization, the Council of Korean Americans, which again it's a national organization representing leaders across the country, we actually produced 2 books here. And this being the most recent one, this is a data survey of the entire, looking at where the current health of the Korean American community nationally, what's going on within our community, and when you pull it away from the Asian American experience. And there are some interesting data that I think I encourage all of you to take a look at, because it's going to change the face of the Korean American community moving the next 5, 10, 20, 25, 120 years. Number one, there are a couple of trends here that I think you may all be shocked. There are changes, but there are opportunities as well. One is, do you know that the Korean American community may be shrinking over the next 20 years? I think there's a lot of discussion about Asian American community growing in our country over the next, but that's the general population. But in Korean American community, we may have flattened out, and the primary reason is probably immigration. And as you know, in Korea, there's a demographic problem. Koreans are not having babies, and therefore people are not immigrating to the United States. But it's also a positive story where Korea has reached economic prosperity where there is no need to immigrate to other countries anymore. And so, but that has an impact to our Korean American community here today. Our culture is changing. There's going to be more second generation, third generation, and first generation Korean Americans. One other important data is, do you know that in the Korean American community, we are one of the most educated ethnic groups in the United States. But there's also a challenge that we are the most economically unequal community, meaning the rich and the poor, there's a huge, vast gap. Where in the United States, the national average is 1 to 19 from the top end to the bottom end, but in the Korean American community, it's 1 to 22. So it means that there are very well-to-do Korean Americans, but there are also Korean Americans that are suffering poverty. And as many of you know, before 2010, 1 out of every 4 Korean Americans actually didn't have medical insurance. And so these are important data, things that you don't really realize until you start to look into the Korean American community. And this is what we're doing. And again, these are challenges, but these are opportunities for our community and the things that we can do to fix and help and support and to continue to prosper as a community, and how we can serve better. And so with all of that, I'll keep my comments brief here, but these are important nuances that we need to continue to look at as civic leaders, but also in order to it requires vigilance. And I believe the best way to honor the pioneers that came here 121 years ago is to continue to be and follow the example of civic engagement, of service and vigilance, and pass that on to the next generation. And that's the hope and that's the vision for our organization, is that we would continue to pass that important legacy that all of you have demonstrated just being by here today in the halls of Congress to our children and our grandchildren. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kim, Abe, who's not just a great friend, but I want everyone to know that when at the White House or even in Congress, they look for somebody who's going to represent the Korean American voice, they invite Abe. And I've known Abe for such a long time that he has a heart where it's not about him, but he really is serving the entire Korean American community as a 1.5 generation. So he represents you and he represents me. So thank you so much, Dr. Kim. We now have a greeting and discussion of a very important documentary film by Dr. Sumi Terry. She had a very high-level meeting in South Korea right now and could not be here today, but we're pleased this year to present this award to, so we have a video that she's actually sending her greetings to.
Greetings from Seoul, South Korea. I would like to thank President Rosa Park, Director Michelle Lee, and Korean American Foundation, Greater Washington, and the Korean American leaders of our Greater D.C. community for the Distinguished Korean American Leadership Award that I'm receiving on this very special day as we gather to commemorate 121 years of Korean immigration to America and the 19th Korean American Day. I'm very sorry that I'm not there in person to celebrate with a distinguished guest. I have to be in Seoul this week, but my heart is there with you, and I'm deeply humbled and honored to receive this award. Today, I would like to take a few minutes to talk about the film I produced, Beyond Utopia. I spent my entire career, several decades now, as a Korea analyst, first in the US government, and then in academia and the think tank world. But this film project, there was 5+ years of labor and love for all involved, is the most personally meaningful work that I have ever done. While working as a Korea watcher, I produced countless intelligence briefings, reports, op-eds, and gave congressional briefings and testimonies, primarily about North Korea. But with this project, I found there is nothing quite like a film as a medium in telling a story that really resonates with people in a very special way. When people talk about North Korea, they often cite dismaying statistics. Some 2 million people perished during the famine years of mid-1990s. There are some 120,000 North Koreans in political prison camps right now. China recently repatriated 600 North Korean refugees back to North Korea, knowing exactly what dire fate awaits them. And there are at least some 2,000 North Korean escapees that are sitting in Chinese prisons right now who will be next. But more than any statistic that we could cite, through specific personal stories like the ones that you will see in this film, we get to tell a larger story about the North Korean people. From working on this film, I have learned the more specific, the more universal. Specificity is what resonates. We've been getting such a warm reception from the audiences around the world, and we cannot be more grateful. The film has won many film festival awards and was just shortlisted for the Academy Awards as one of the best documentary feature film of this year. There are many ways to describe this film, but I believe that in the final analysis, it is about courage and resilience. Both qualities are exemplified by the Roe family in risking their lives to find freedom in an overland trek from North Korea to Thailand, in a mother's attempts to get her son out of North Korea, and in a South Korean pastor's efforts to help these North Korean refugees and many others. I hope that our film will raise awareness in the United States and around the world about the terrible plight of the North Korean people. When we talk about North Korea, we tend to talk about the weapons of mass destruction, WMD. Our film is a reminder that the most dangerous WMD of all is the Kim regime, and its biggest victims are the North Korean people. As a Korean American, nothing would make me more proud and happier than to see in our lifetime a free and unified Korea that is an ally of the United States. This is personal for me. All of my father's family came from North Korea. My paternal grandparents were lucky enough to be in the South when the Korean War broke out in 1950. But their parents, my great-grandparents, my great-grand-uncles and aunts and so on, the extended family, they were not so lucky. I spent my childhood hearing stories from my grandparents about their life in North Korea and about their family members that they had left behind. My grandparents eventually passed away without finding out what happened to their family members. I weep at the fate endured by my family and millions of other Korean families, people just like me. I want them to have the opportunities I've had, or that 50 million South Koreans have. But while Beyond Utopia is specifically focused on the plight of the North Korean people, it also should serve as a more general reminder of how precious freedom is, how quickly and totally it can be lost. Those of us lucky enough to live in America or South Korea, we can get to experience freedom every day, but we can never take it for granted, and we must fight to preserve it. Thank you again for this honor. I am truly humbled and very grateful for this recognition. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Terry. So presenting the award will be to Dr. Terry will be Mr. Harold Pyun, and accepting on her behalf is Ms. Eune Lee.
Dr. Sue Terry received her doctorate degree from the Fisher School of Tufts University in International Relations, and after graduating, Dr. Terry worked for U.S. federal government for 10 years as a CIA, Senior Intelligence Analyst for Korean Peninsula. She also served as a director of Korea, Japan, and Oceania at the National Security Council, in the White House. Recently, Dr. Terry produced a documentary film Behind Utopia, which has been shortlisted for the upcoming 96th Academy Award in Hollywood. Dr. Terry is a very successful role model for Korean American community. We are honored to present to her Distinguished Korean American Leadership Award for 2024. Congratulations. I think that Terry's mom is going to be receiving that.
Well, congratulations, Ms. Eune Lee. We're also pleased this year to present scholarships to Rachel Lee, presented by Ms. Eune Lee, and to Joo-Hang Lee, presented by President Park, Rosa Park, for their outstanding community service. So if you can come up, please. Rachel is a high school student and founder of a K-pop dance group. Chu-hang is a student at the University of Maryland College Park. She is very active in community service via her membership in the Baraka Youth Orchestra. Congratulations again to Rachel and Chu-hang. Now for the fun part. We have Korean dances, the 살풀이 춤 by Myo-sun Kim and Soo-kyung-jung, and the dance 화랑지 춤 with Soo-kyung-jung, Ga-won Lee, and Soo-kwon Lee. The first is an effort to transform reality into beauty, and the second is a harvest celebration. so much. That was so beautiful. We would like to now present an award for our appreciation of the contributions to Korean traditional dance by Myo-sun Kim, who traveled from Korea to be here today. Her many accolades in Korea include the Korean National Order of Cultural Merit. She owns and is the artistic director of the dance company in South Korea.